exactly. I don't recall. Then it was probably an hour and a half later by that time, and because the TV went black and white, it was nothing was going on. That's how late it was, and I was really getting tired. Like, I don't know what to do. I didn't have anyone to talk to for an hour and a half, just sitting there waiting. And he came in, and we sat at the edge of the bed. And I remember he said, "Apologize, this chaos." He goes, "Now we can calm down." And he brought a joint with him, and he passed it on to me. And I said, "I don't smoke." And right that moment, we were literally maybe 6 feet, 7 feet from the doorway, and it went knocking, knocking, knocking. And then we didn't pay any attention. And again, it happened within seconds. And by the third time, the knocking became a little bit more rapid, and that's when he stood up. And this is my view. Sitting on the edge of the bed, 6 feet away from the door is open this wide. I saw it was like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, 3 faces. And boom, the door flew and hit him on the cheek. I was devastated because he was like, the door knocked him he hit the back of his head on the wall, and the door hit his face. I was exactly the same expression. I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "Do you know who he is?" And I remember vividly, it's
Cold and new here. So, I wanted to welcome you to my life. And I wanted to first start off with my recommended pages on YouTube. It's not really pages, it's mostly like a recommended channel. Like what YouTube basically thinks that you should watch by monitoring what you watch on occasion or every day or once a week or whatever's on your account that you like to watch on YouTube. So I found something. I guess, when I would drive around, I would sometimes use YouTube. YouTube, that would be another one. But YouTube, I would use YouTube for music. And so every once in a while I would I guess I would listen to like a David Bowie song. Well, sometimes I'd be on SoundCloud. The water is making me burp. And I would be on SoundCloud and I couldn't find a certain song. Well, I always realized from searching YouTube that usually I could find that song on YouTube. I don't know why, I'm just being honest. They have like almost every song. So in doing this, I guess YouTube thought I was a big David Bowie fan. And most people are David Bowie fans, and that's perfectly fine. Well, YouTube suggested that I watch this. So, didn't know this happened. David Bowie was apparently arrested for a drug charge, which was a big deal back in the 70s, with this lady that tells her story. She was a groupie or a fan that was hanging out with David Bowie after a concert and went up to, I guess, like David Bowie's hotel room, and then moments later the door was kicked in and David Bowie was arrested. That's his mugshot. Along with this lady who was a student at the time. Also, the lady was from China, and her charges were completely dismissed. I don't really know what happened to David Bowie, but immigration was involved, and they were threatened to be deported back to their countries, the lady going back to China, possibly, and David Bowie going to England. I don't know if that was the result of what happened here,
Okay, lady,
But
you're all under arrest.
I thought it was interesting because this is more about what's
didn't go to many
recommended to
parties.
me.
You know, so to a big party you're invited to, you get arrested.
So this is basically Democrat and Chronicle, which I don't know who they are. I've never searched on them before, but they do have a channel, and this is the channel. Now, I'm not a big football fan. This is Buffalo Bills, Syracuse, Houston defense has struggle. Bills need to take advantage. And it's just nothing but football. I don't see anything on this channel that talks about David Bowie. I guess maybe they decided, here's Buffalo Bills, knows what they must do against Lamar Jackson. But he goes on and on. Here's something about the Cowboys. Josh Allen said this wasn't a statement, just win number one. And there's Woods tackling. There's Buffalo Bills again right here. It goes on and on and on and on and on right here. Nothing but sports. So, and I never watch sports on YouTube. But
that leaves a pretty big
this
dent
is
in
connected
your heart. When we were at the arraignment
to that same channel.
After that.
And it's on my recommended. This is partially the recommended page right here. So every time you get off of your recommended page, it'll recommend more to you. So, for example, here's something from the Daily Woo, and if I tap on it, it comes on here.
You guys in here? You guys in here?
And that was Adam from the Daily Woo, which I watch. What's interesting is that it recommends things sometimes that you've never heard of. I wouldn't say that that's the case with the Daily Woo, because I watch it sometimes or all the time. But it does recommend a lot of things. So you basically sometimes you ask yourself, why is this particular channel being recommended to me? Here's another one I thought was interesting here, was oldies playing in the car and it's raining. It's a dreamscape. So what I've recently done is, because sometimes I sleep here on the couch sometimes if I'm having trouble sleeping. Sometimes the couch helps me. And then sometimes I'll go into the back bedroom and sleep. I'll sometimes turn it on like it's kind of like a dreamscape kind of thing, or the sound of ocean hitting the beach. And I guess they recommended this particular group to me, which is Nemo's Dreamscape. Yeah, and also if you don't know about my channel, subscribe. And there's the notifying bell right there. But anyway, this is an interesting group because they actually raise money to support this channel by the hour. And one time it came on and they were doing a fundraiser. They had $250 saved up to support this Nemo's Dreamscapes or something similar. It could have been a similar group. But this is kind of like relaxing music, the sound of rain. You can see the passing neighborhood right here through the car. And it goes on for 3 hours and 11 minutes and 9 seconds. And it has 653,000 views right now. And here's their channel. So usually they'll recommend like 2 live streams that they do. This one I saw last night, which is live oldies. So you turn it on here, and it plays like relaxing oldie music, or oldies music, I guess you can call it. Here it is. And this is the amount of money that they have asked for. Send any amount you can to keep the streams going live 24/7. And they have $269.83 raised right now. And these are all the people that are actually giving to this channel for Nemo's Dreamscape. And this was recommended to me. I guess because I had pulled up some stuff about listening to the sounds of ocean, or listening to the sounds of the wind or the ocean while going to sleep or something. There's another thing recommended there. Go through some more recommendations. I get a lot of the Daily Woo recommendation. There's oldies for Dreamscape. Something called Flake Tower from World War II Germany. I do watch a lot of stuff on World War II on Access and Pacific. So I'm very interested in World War II. I have been, I guess, ever since I saw one of my favorite movies, which was Saving Private Ryan. But this is obviously something to do with Flak Tower from World War II Germany still standing. Here's another. This is actually not the Daily Woo. This is from Adam the Woo, which is John Wayne's Alamo, abandoned movie set village. So it's about the Alamo, abandoned Alamo. I don't really know much about Waylon Jennings, so I don't know why this one's recommended to me. I don't watch Waylon Jennings. I have no idea who he is. Maybe I should know. So maybe YouTube is saying you should know about Waylon Jennings. Check him out. And maybe I will. Also, another thing that I do sometimes is to go to sleep, I'll actually turn it on like an audiobook. I've been doing The Hobbit, and that does put me to sleep. I'll listen to it for about 10 minutes and then Another one that puts me to sleep quite often, or it has in the past, is the famous author David Foster Wallace, which Infinite Jest, I'm telling you, after about 10 minutes, but it is a good book. I'm a big fan of Infinite Jest. This is actually Jaws by Peter Benchley, who is recommended to me. So when you just basically press on it, sometimes you'll get a commercial. Commercial should probably come up. No, it doesn't. So the legendary novel will actually pull up.
Chapter 1. The great fish moved silently through the night water, propelled by short sweeps of its crescent tail.
The great fish moves through the night water is how Jaws opens. It's known as a great fish rather than a great white. Peter Benchley. Haven't listened to that one to go to sleep yet. But if I was on a boat, I probably would not do that. Yeah, this makes sense. So YouTube does know me. This is the Spanakopita, or the Spanakopita, which Linda and I recently did a cooking show, or the third episode of our cooking show. And I did do some research on Spanakopita, or Spanakopita, or Spanakopita. So they knew that, they got that one right. I don't know about this one, story chasing. I was recommended to check out Mr. Ballin, so I hit on it and liked one of his things, and they recommended it nonstop, probably because of his 1.1 million views that he gets right here. And then there's something about Tampa J. I don't know who Tampa J is. I must have accidentally hit on him once or twice. Lots of filming locations right here. And here's another really cool one. The Shadow Knows Old Time Radio Shows All Night. Right here. So it's basically, when you tap on it, it's like an old radio show that pulls up. They have a channel too. The Late Horror Show. I did get into the Grim Life Collective, which is right here. They have some really good filming locations, and they do crime scene investigation or just crime scene stuff, and just stuff that's very grim. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of things about Charles Manson that gets kind of thrown at me. And that's kind of how I ended up, believe it or not, finding out about Jordan the Lion was through a Charles Manson, or it's actually, it's supposedly Charles Manson's son. But it's everywhere. This one's on Dearly Departed online, which is, actually I know about them. They're in LA and they do tours about the Sharon Tate house, the LaBanca house, or whatever you want to call it, Roman Polanski's old house. And they tour that area of LA, and they actually have a lot of popularity. This is also Sharing the Wild Guy. He's right here. He's connected to Chrome Valdez in Florida. I mean, I'm not Florida. I'm sorry. Canada. They're both in Canada. More the Daily Woo. But I just wanted to share that with you because everyone probably has a recommended page if they have an account. And I just thought it was interesting because there was like this lady got arrested with David Bowie. I'd listened to, a few of the David Bowie songs, or maybe an album or two, and then all of a sudden they're recommending information about David Bowie's arrest in 1976, which I thought was a little too much information. But regardless, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was an interesting thing to deal with, and I guess that goes in a lot of other sites too. It's not just YouTube, but Microsoft and a bunch of other people too will recommend things to you. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Like I said, it's not just YouTube, but it's all over the place in the world, because everybody's trying to sell something and they get recommendations. So this one's going to be kind of about recommendations and how YouTube will recommend things to you based on what you've watched or your interest. Well, anyway, gotta get going. Oh, if you don't know about my channel, please subscribe. I'll put information in the description about my PayPal.